Right, so today we've got Cardiff Blues and Wales player Shane Lewis-Hughes. Shane, first of all, did you have a good Christmas?
Yeah, it was a strange one this year. But all in all, mate, it was a good Christmas. I think everyone needed it, and there's something to look forward to after the pandemic and what have you. So no, it was a nice day spent with the family. You couldn't have everyone over, but yeah, it was good. It was all right, but yeah, it was just nice to have a bit of normality for a day. Considering we're in another lockdown now for God knows how long, but no, it was nice, mate. It was good. Yourself?
Yeah, very good, thank you. After the few months of obviously not playing rugby, how much of a relief was it to be back with the Blues? Just at least training.
God, yeah. So when did it start? March, wasn't it? That's when we went to lockdown.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? March. Yeah. God, it was mental. Like I think everyone thought that by June we'll all be back we'll all be back in training or what have you. Even April, we were like, oh, it'll only last a couple of weeks. But then when it went on for that amount of time, it was like, God, this is mad. But I was fortunate enough to I put a gym up in my mum's shop, so behind where she works she's got like a coffee sweet shop kind of thing. And I put a gym in the back, so a gym by me. I rented some equipment, stuck it all in the back, and I was able to use that then to train. So it was actually all right because, as he said, something to do. Because I know a lot of the boys didn't have any equipment or anything to do in that time, so I would have been going off my head. So it was just crazy to hear some of the stories when we came back. The boys had like no weights or anything, but obviously we were all able to run and what have you. But yeah, I think after the first couple of weeks, you really start to miss it then, because funny enough, at the start it's nice to have that break from the game. I suppose it gets on top of it sometimes, week to week. And the games don't get easier now. Every team is competitive. So when you're playing, you're constantly in that cycle of getting yourself up for the game. So it was nice for the first, I'd say, 3 weeks. But then after that, then you're like, God, when are we actually going back? And then, 12 weeks later, you're like, oh, come on, we need to get back playing. So finally, when we got back into training, then everyone was refreshed, and I'm looking forward to getting back into the season. So no, it's crazy though.
Yeah, it has been a crazy year. But for yourself, obviously, getting your first cap against Scotland, how much of a good feeling was that?
Oh, mate, it was mad, because considering I wasn't in the squad originally, and then I had a phone call then. It was after the Connacht game, so Sunday morning I had a phone call asking me to come in on the Monday. And then from there, then it was just it's just madness. Just obviously the boys played France. Then the week later, I was selected to play against Scotland in my first game. So it was just a whirlwind, really, mate. It was just absolutely mental a couple of weeks, considering, like I said, it wasn't in it, and then to be starting against Scotland. So it was took me by surprise. But yeah, it was amazing occasion, amazing day. Just a shame, really. The only thing I'm gutted with, I couldn't have my family there and my girlfriend and stuff. And if someone said to me when I was a kid, look, one day you'll make your debut for Wales, but it won't be in the Principality Stadium, there'd be no fans there, you won't have your family or girlfriend there, I'd be like, what? So it was a bit of a mad one, really. So hopefully I get more opportunities in the future, and I'll class that as my first cap then if I have my family there.
Yeah, you mentioned your family and your girlfriend there. There must have been some big celebrations at home still.
Oh yeah, when I came back, everyone was over the moon. It was brilliant. I had phone calls, texts off everyone, FaceTime. So that was brilliant. In fairness, I think after Romba was celebrating. It was brilliant. It was really good. So it was good to have that aspect. Everyone messaging and stuff and saying congratulations. And it goes by like that. I remember speaking to God, was I was speaking to Justin Tipperick, and he said it just goes by so quick. Just enjoy every bit of it. And it did. It went by like a flash. But no, it was something I'll definitely never forget. Even though in bizarre circumstances with nobody there watching, it was still playing for your country in your first cap. You'll always remember that.
Did it put you out of your comfort zone at all? Like you were kind of the new guy, or is it something you just took in your stride?
I suppose you can overthink it a little bit, can't you, if you think about the occasion rather than just the game, if that makes sense. Because rugby is just a game of rugby. Obviously, it gets harder the higher the levels you play and what have you, but you can overcomplicate it, and I suppose if you let the occasion get the better of you, then you don't perform to your best. But no, the first couple of days I was in the building, I was a bit nervous, but then everyone's welcoming, everyone's getting you up to speed with calls and what have you, and so that's really good. And all the staff were brilliant, all the boys, everyone was great. So I felt right at home within the first couple of days, really. So then when it came to that test week, I was actually quite comfortable. So that was really good. It gave me a lot of confidence then going into that game. So yeah, it was really good.
You started the season pretty well for the Blues. You've been playing well for the just before lockdown as well. So was this something this call up a surprise to you?
It's something that you always push for. Like that's the reason I play. Like I want to play at the highest level for as long as I can. So when the squad got announced initially, I was really disappointed that I wasn't in. Because like I said, I thought I was playing well enough before lockdown, and those 2 games when we came back, I was playing my best rugby really. So when I wasn't named in the squad, I was really disappointed. But then, to get called in, and I felt like I proved myself in the first game to try and be in the future if playing well enough, obviously in the coming games. But yeah, it's if you said to me 2 years ago, by now I'd have 3 Welsh caps, I would have bitten your hand off for it. So it's I'm in a lucky position to be, but obviously there's a lot more hard work now to do to get back into future squads.
Yeah, definitely. And just lastly from me, it wasn't the best of autumns from a Welsh point of view, but for you personally, in your performances in the red jersey, how did you think you did?
Yeah, overall, yeah, happy. I think like the first game, it went well for me. So I had quite good reviews from it as well from coaches and stuff saying that I performed very well on that day. So yeah, it was just I enjoyed the experience, mate. The experience was brilliant. You learn a lot, not just on the field, but off the field as well. On the training paddock, not just in the matches. You learn a lot what it takes to play that level over a number of years. You look at the likes of Alan and Jones and Jonathan Davis and all these players established as one of the best players in the world in their position for a long period of time is because what they do and how they prepare for international rugby. It takes a lot. It's mentally quite exhausting. But that's what it takes to stay at that level. And yeah, you learn a lot about yourself really. You learn a lot about if you can stay there. And you just soak everything up in your stride, and that's what I did. I really enjoyed the experience for the 7 or 8 weeks I was there.
Shane, you spoke about your time with Wales, but before you were called up, you played very well for the Blues. The Blues were doing well. Since then, a bit of a mixed bag. How do you rate the season so far for the region?
Yeah, like you said, it's just a bit of a mixed bag of emotions, really. We've had some really good performances. I think after we came back after lockdown, we played the two games against Scarlets and Ospreys. Scarlets obviously wasn't very good. You could tell we've been off for months. That was evident in that game. But then we played the Ospreys in the second game, and we played a lot better brand of rugby, and that really gives a lot of confidence then going into the 2 games against Zebra and Connacht. And we performed really well in them games, and we were quite pleased with that. But when I was away then with Wales, I was watching. we had the foothold in the game. Every game I watched, I thought we'd win, and then the last 15-10 minutes, we just let it slip. So like we're playing the way we're going, we're playing the right kind of rugby. It's just about doing it consistently for 80 minutes, and that's what we're trying to do as a team and as individuals. We're just trying to get better and figuring out how we can perform for that 80 minutes to to get on the right end of the scoreboard.
2 from 2 in the European Challenge Cup. Is that a trophy you're aiming to lift?
Oh yeah, definitely. The boys were lucky to be, to win it 2018 when they were lucky to be in. They were privileged to lift that trophy, and they deserved it for it. They played brilliant in that campaign all the way through. And I remember seeing the boys after putting photos up afterwards in the change rooms. They looked just absolutely over the moon, and it was an unbelievable match as well for Anscombe to kick that kick right in the last minute to win it for the boys. And you've seen the celebrations and stuff and what it meant to them. So that's why you play, isn't it? That's why you want to be involved in big moments, in big games like that. You want to be lifting silverware, and that's something I'm inspired to do as well. And with the squad we got now, there's no reason why we can't do that on paper. We're right all the way through. We got so many talented boys, and so many boys that are committed to the game. So there's no reason why we can't compete and do it again.
So in terms of the here and now, you played around 30 minutes for the Blues in their Boxing Day win over the Dragons. Ospreys on New Year's Day. So how much are you going to win that one by?
No, obviously, if anyone watching that game knew that it wasn't a game for the spectators, most people would have changed it over and watched Coronation Street or something. It wasn't a great game of rugby to watch. It was horrible. I remember speaking to the boys when we were warming up, just like, God, when is this rain ever going to stop? It was just absolutely horrendous. Running, warming up, just running, your legs felt heavy on it, everything. It was just crazy. But at the end of the day, you play rugby to win. So you're not always going to play the best rugby you want to play or display. It's just figuring out when you're in them games, when stuff's not going right, how you can get yourself on the right side of the scoreboard. And sometimes that is boring to watch, but at the end of the day, rugby's about winning, and we got to win. So that's good now, and we just need to do the same against Ospreys. We need to, hopefully the weather's not as bad, but we need to look at a few things from the game. But we're quite pleased that we battled it out right towards the end, and we camped on their goal line for long periods of time, and we came away with a good try at the end. So we're pleased with that. We're pleased in the direction we're going. We just need to take that into Friday now.
So you scored in the Christmas Welsh Derby last year against the Dragons, back when fans were actually allowed in. So how much different is it playing in front of no supporters, especially in these big ones?
I was saying before we played the first game against Scarlets, when we were in lockdown waiting to play them, and I said, surely to God, it can't be that much different. We're like, boys, we won't notice it. When you're in the heat of the game, you can't hear anyone anyway. And honest to God, when you're warming up, when we were warming up, I was like, this doesn't feel right. This is not right at all. The build up of it, the fans coming in, you're looking around, everyone's waiting to see a good brand of rugby. And it gives you that little bit, you've got your own motivation anyway, but it gives you that little bit more, you feel pressure to perform. And it gives you that bit of excitement as well. Just that added bit of excitement. And obviously you've got your family in there, so you're always trying to do them proud. So I don't know, I think it's just the whole thing of having fans and getting them behind you, especially when you're up and you're winning and they're all shouting and screaming and everyone's behind you. You can really feel that. And the same when you're losing and they're really behind you. So you do feel that when you're playing. So to have nobody there watching and stuff, you've got to try and create your own atmosphere, if that makes sense. So you celebrate the small little wins. So when you get a penalty from a turnover or a try or whatever it is, you really try and get behind each other and celebrate. So you try and create a bit more of your own atmosphere, if that makes sense.
Nice one. A bit of a difficult question there now. So obviously you're at the Blues at the moment. Did you ever think about the idea of potentially moving away, doing something in a different country later on in your career?
I don't know. It's hard to tell. Obviously, I'm really enjoying it at the Blues at the minute. Still fairly young and into my career. So look, it all depends what I achieve in the game. I think if I was happy with what I'd done and if I play at a high level for a long time, then I suppose you could at the tail end of your career to go to look to play somewhere else. And I know a lot of players now they're going up to France, but then they also got this mental league out in America, haven't they? So, and it's I've always said I would have liked to live in America at some point in my life. So maybe that's something I might explore further down in my career. But at the minute, I'm really happy at the Blues, mate. It's a good place. I'm really excited where we're going.
Oh, brilliant. Nice one. So we're going to take you back a few years now. Firstly, to your time at Ponty. So how significant was your time there in the building of your character and as a rugby player?
Oh, but honestly, I've said those, I think it was that season I joined Ponty. I absolutely loved it. Like every single game, I was never nervous, never put any pressure on myself, and that was probably one of the best brands of rugby I played. I got so much confidence from it. Even though that year I was struggling big time with my knees, I had 2 knee ops later on that year, but at the start it was playing for Ponty was brilliant, and the atmosphere in that stadium when we were allowed fans, it was unbelievable. They're so passionate. I honestly, if I was to say to someone, if you want to go and watch a really good game of rugby from a fan's point of view, go to Sardis Road, and it's just absolutely brilliant. Everyone's behind you, screaming, "Come on, Ponty!" It's absolutely brilliant to play with, and especially like when you're playing someone like Merthyr or Cardiff, it's absolutely jam-packed, and it really does feel like a really good competitive game as well. So yeah, I really enjoyed my stint at Ponty. It's a great club.
So you mentioned Ponty as a whole, how much they've helped you. Is there anyone in particular who's helped you develop?
At Ponty?
Just anyone in your career, can be at Ponty or can be at Wales or the Blues?
Helped me develop. A big person I got to thank a lot for development and everything. More I say develop, more the foundations really. If that's not going off track, I've always said it, like he's the main reason. One of the biggest reasons I'm here now is Chris Jones, who coaches Romba Schools, and he's been coaching Romba Schools ever since he was like 15, I think, and he's in his 60s now. He's a massive reason. He's everything that rugby's about. You know, that hard work, graft, having that bit of dog in it, everything. He taught me a lot about the game. The big principles of playing hard for 80 minutes, and just that old school mentality. I remember we used to have I think we used to train like 3 times a week from 12 all the way up to 15. And they would be like 2.5, 3-hour sessions. Like it was we had intense training from a very young age. So he installed that professional environment into from a very young age. So that was good leading into professional rugby then. So I've always carried those principles and values. So I remember texting him after my first cap and say, "Look, I would have never achieved this if it wasn't for you." So yeah, he's a massive reason why I've got this far.
So speaking of people who've helped you, we caught up with your old PE teacher, Mr. Hughes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
A few episodes ago. So how important was he in your development?
No, really important, mate. I learned a lot from just the physical point of view, just from with the body and little bits of training and detail, and how you can improve as an athlete as well. So I remember he was brilliant. I remember lunchtime I'd always want to train, so he'd give me the keys for the gym. And to be fair, I don't think anyone else would have done it for me. He knew like how serious I was about training and how serious I was about rugby, and I needed to get weights in, or I needed to do some sprints or whatever, and he just gave me the keys to the sports hall, and he said, "Look, crack on. Just make sure you lock the gym up and leave it on my desk." And and for him to do that was brilliant. So he done that for the 2 years from year 10 to year 11 until I left, and I was able to do anything I wanted really. So he was a massive help towards my development in that age, which is really a critical time really, from 15 to 16, because that's then when you finish district rugby, you look to go into Blues into 16s and so on. So yeah, again, mate, he was a massive help, and he's just a top bloke as well. Really, really good bloke, and He's someone he's someone I really enjoyed being around from just to chat to and learn a lot off just about different sports and how I can develop, like I said, how you can develop as an athlete, not just a rugby player. So he was really good, mate. Yeah, I speak highly of Mr. Hughes. He was brilliant.
So another class experience must have been playing for the under-20s. So how was that?
That year was mad because I remember I finished with the Wales 18s in the August, played a year up for under 18s. Yeah, Wales 18s. We just came back from South Africa, and then later on into that season, I was doing a bit in the BNI Cup. Stuff for like the Blues A and what have you. So like I was pushing on quite well. But then I remember I had a phone call then off Richard Hodges and said, "Oh look, mate, just get in with a shout with the Wales in the 20s." And I was 18 at the time, and I was like, "What? Surely not." And he was like, "Oh, just keep playing well, keep doing this and what have you." Because I remember they were like struggling on second rows at the time. And obviously, I've always played back row. So I was like, oh, second row, I don't really want to be playing there. But it was an opportunity. He came around and said to me, look, there's an opportunity here for you to start. I think it was Seb Davis was out at the time as well. And a few others. So he was like, there's an opportunity here. This would be massive for your development. Just go for it. And, I went to training and everything. And, I was never expecting to start every game and to win a Grand Slam was unbelievable. Like that 2016 is just absolutely mental. When I look back now and I think of the memories and stuff, it was brilliant. That's something nobody can ever take off you. And I was fortunate to be a part of that. And I remember that night when we beat Italy for the Grand Slam and that final whistle went, we were all just going absolutely ballistic. It was brilliant. And then obviously then the following year, then my last year with the under-20s, my last year with the under-20s, then I missed the first couple of games. They'd done something to my shoulder. And then I caught the Ireland and France game. And then we had a really good World Cup then in Georgia. Not so good from a results point of view, but the whole experience was brilliant. I loved them 2 years. Really, really cherished it.
So you were likened to Alan Wynne-Jones by Wayne Pivac prior to your first cap. So is this the type of player and person you'd like to emulate in the future?
Oh, look, I always say, right, if you want to achieve something and you want to be the best at what you do, you've got to be willing to sacrifice a lot, and you've got to be, I wouldn't say sacrifice because that sounds like, yes, you've got to make a lot of choices. And those choices, and you only got so much time in the day. So what you choose to do with your time is what will determine what you do with your future. And I remember when I first walked in, he is so intense with everything he does. And I literally mean everything from analysis to trade. He's the first one on the training paddock and the last one off. He sprints to every single drill. It's crazy. He plays a test match like it's a Tuesday. It's absolutely mental. Everything he does is just at the absolute pinnacle. Like he goes 100% into everything. But you look at it and you think, God, this bloke is mental. But then you think, hang on a minute, he's got 152 caps now or whatever it is. There's no coincidence, is there? There's no coincidence how he's there, and it's absolutely unbelievable. So, I get told all the time that I'm mental, I need to chill out. But then I look at him and think, oh, I'm actually quite normal, because what he's done is what he's doing and what he's done is just absolutely amazing. And there's no coincidence why he's got there. And with all the other best rugby players, they all get there for one reason, because they're that little bit different, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so just to finish off the main questions now, and we're going to fire in some quick fire ones for you to finish off.
Otherwise.
Your motto is obsessed to be the best. With that in mind, will you only be satisfied with what you've achieved when you've gone on winning Lions tours, won World Cups, and European and league trophies?
Yeah. No, yeah, like the meaning behind that is just trying to be the best version of yourself every single day. So I won't be satisfied until I've achieved everything I want to achieve. And like I said, I wanna play at the highest level as long as I can, and be one of the best in the world in my position, and if not the best. So like that's the pressure and that's the expectation I put on myself, because I've given everything from a young age. So if I didn't achieve them things or get close to achieving them things, then it'd feel like a waste of time, and it'd feel like I'd failed, if that makes sense. A lot of people think I'd be meant over saying that. They'd say, look, you've got 3 Welsh caps or what have you. That's brilliant, but it's nothing unless I achieve and take every goal on the list. And so it's just a start, really, in my head. I haven't achieved anything yet.
All right, so just to finish off, got some quick fire questions for you then. We're going to do them one each. So I think I'm going to go from me to James and then to Joe, if Joe's able to speak without the connection going all weird.
Okay.
So the first one is, who's the best player you've played with or against so far?
Jared Evans.
Physically, who's the hardest player you've played against?
Physically, the hardest player I've played against. Oh my God. Sam Underhill.
What's the best match you've been involved in?
Under 20s Grand Slam final again. The last game in the under 20s against Italy to win the Grand Slam.
So toughest club to play away from home, and we'll say that there are fans in the stadium for this example.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a couple, but I'm going to go with Munster.
Funniest teammate?
Funniest teammate? Oh God, there's a couple. Funniest teammate.
You can list them if you want.
I'm probably going to go with Liam Belcher and Dan Fish.
Best roommate?
Best roommate? Liam Belcher.
Who's the worst crack? Who's the worst at handling banter?
Oh, the worst at handling banter. Corey Domachowski.
Best drinker?
Best drinker, Ben Murphy.
Worst drinker?
Me.
That's brilliant. Yeah, that's it, mate. Cheers.
No, it's good. Appreciate it, boys. Thank you.